Hey everybody, welcome to Ivancast podcast. You're listening to Ivancast podcast. Welcome to Ivancast podcast. Welcome to the podcast. So we are on the air. Today is a very special day. One of my dreams is about to become true. My guest is the one and only Kylie Auldist. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the queen of funk and soul from Australia. I would also say the disco queen from Australia. She's the soulful voice behind the summer hit This Girl. The music video for this song went viral on the internet and has hundreds of millions of views on YouTube. I'm talking about the remix of this song. She's also well known for being the vocalist of funk masters from Australia, the Bamboos, and Cooking on Three Burners. Described at the music magazine as Melbourne's High Priestess of Soul, I am so honored to have her on my little independent podcast, produced and recorded by myself in my country, Ecuador, in South America. That's the place where I was born. Kylie, thank you so much for accepting my humble invitation. I'm a big fan of your music, and I am so happy to have the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you for being on the podcast. This is crazy. You are in Australia. I am in Ecuador. It's Friday in Australia. It's Thursday already in Ecuador. And we are connected through my little podcast. So podcast is a good way to reunite.
Also your fantastic English.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. I hope you can understand my English, my accent.
What language do you guys speak?
Spanish is my mother tongue, and I also speak German and, of course, English too.
See how clever you are? In Australia, we struggle to speak English. So I think that's amazing. You're all very talented and clever, and the fact that you can speak such great English helps us to reach out to you guys, because, I can't speak Spanish. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. I used to listen to your album Made of Stone, Up and Down, back in 2009 when I lived in Germany. It was sort of my company many winter days when I live over there. And Ship Inside a Bottle is a song that still brings me back to that time and still brings so many memories and emotions to me. So it's a very special episode for me, Kylie. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your music. Thank you for your music.
Thank you. That's so amazing for me to know that, just in this, we feel that we're very isolated here in Australia. And then for people in South America, where I've never been to South America, and for you to be listening to my music, that's just it's so special. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a musician myself, and the drummer of my band in Germany, and I will spend hours and hours in front of the computer digging in the digital craves, I like to say, iTunes and so on. Back in the day in 2009, and when we were discovering all these great bands from Australia, the Bamboos, Cooking on Three Burners. Wow, we couldn't get enough of it. It was so good. We were really two wide-eyed guys in Germany, also playing funk, and we went to one of your concerts actually in Berlin. I think it was in 2010, maybe.
Wow, where was that at? Bohannon?
Yeah, Bohannon Club, of course, yes. I was there, Kylie. I have a couple of pictures.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, how fantastic. I've got the poster up in my house. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, wow, yes, Bohannon Club. Oh, I'm going to send you a picture of that when we finish.
Yeah, I also have a couple of pictures. I will send you them too. It was a really cool concert. And I know Kai, the drummer of my band, is going to listen to this episode, so he's going to be happy to hear you, because we were really into the funk and soul music at that time. We were really into the groove.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. That was so much fun, that gig. I loved it. And there was lots of people there, and Lady Six was there from New Zealand. He's a rapper. Yeah. And that was so fun. I remember one person saying to me at that gig, "Oh, you sound just like the record." And I was like, "Well, it's me."
Yeah, so let's put apart for a minute all the viruses and diseases for a moment. Let's try to have a good time. This podcast is intended to bring some happiness, some hope out there in this tough, kind of stressful times we're living in.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that the whole world is going through this at the same time. It's really the first time in our lives. We've never had in our generation any bad times.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Australia is a very big country, and we have a lot of different states, and they all have their own premiers, and all those premiers are now closing the borders and giving people fines of $1,000 to leave the house.
Do you feel prepared for this pandemic? Are you, I don't know, kind of afraid? Do you have some fear or sadness? I don't know what is the best description for this situation worldwide right now.
Well, I do feel sad that my family lives in another state, and so I'm cut off from them. And all my gigs have been cancelled, like every single thing for the rest of the year. There's been some fantastic gigs that we were about to do, and now they've been cancelled. So that's devastating. But realistically, it's and a lot of musicians here survive just by music alone. So hopefully people can still live somehow. Hopefully they'll just close down all the bills. Like if we don't have to pay rent, if we don't have to pay huge bills, then hopefully we can all get through this without people starting to get desperate.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking today. Like, how are musicians, artists, and many other people handling this whole situation during this COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, as usual, musicians are the first ones to come out and try to help others. There's always people doing gigs. We've recently lived through bushfires here, and so all the musicians came out and made money for everybody. And so I think, we're all very. I see that people are quite positive. We have music in our lives which makes us happier, and everybody's making little concerts online. Also, I'm learning the bass. We're all doing little things at home that we never had time to do before. But I think, people will be sad and people will be desperate because, I mean, I haven't sang now for a few weeks, and it feels like, I need to, and it makes me happy. And I don't know how other people cope without music in their life because it really does fix my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think things are going to change, maybe, but I think for the better. I think we can also do great things out of these situations. So, Kylie, how did it all start with singing and performing? Was it something you always wanted to do since you were a little girl? Were your parents always supportive? How did it all start?
Absolutely. Well, I live in the middle of the outback Australia, up north of Broken Hill. Mm-hmm. If you look on the map, it's 70 miles north of Broken Hill we were, so very much in the red dirt up there. And my father used to play the guitar and also sing, and he and my mum would have parties with people, and they'd play their records, and I would listen to their records and sing all the time. So I always sang, and I had no television, so that's all I did was sing. And then as I got older, I just didn't realize that everybody else didn't sing as much as I did. So I used to sing in the pubs with my grandmother, and I was with my grandfather. With my father. Uh-huh. My grandmother told me that I should sing and share my voice because it was a gift. Yeah. And so I didn't realize that it was so, but I was shy. You see, I was shy to sing in front of people, but then she said I have to because it's like not everybody can do that, so you have to. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then it was just like it just followed on from there. It was I came from the country. My dad and I used to play in the pubs in the country town I was from. Yeah. And then we would, I came to the town and to the big city, and I joined every band that I could find, even ridiculous bands that didn't suit me, like punk bands and, rock bands and cover bands and all that sort of stuff. I just did anything I could. Yeah. Until I finally, I met all my friends in the Fitzroy music scene. So in Melbourne, I knew that Melbourne was the centre of music for Australia, and I had to go there. So I did, and that's where I met all the best musicians, and I've joined that Melbourne music family, and the rest is history. So yeah, I had met the Bamboos 20 years earlier, but then we finally got into a band together in 2016 2006. Sorry, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm so old, I keep forgetting the dates. 2006. And I went and we did Meredith, which is a big festival in Victoria. And then from there, straight away after I did that gig, we went on tour, and that's where I would have seen you guys first, I think, 2007 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I think the Bamboos have been together for 20 years now. So I've been with them for like 15 years. Wow. And
it's a long time, no?
I'm putting out a new album this week.
That's pretty cool.
I've got a new album coming out this month, basically. Yeah.
This month is a new album coming out from the Bamboos.
Well, everything's changed, so we don't know now. See, I've got a lot of homework to do. I've got to write lyrics, and because the Bamboos just finished a new album. Also, my solo stuff, I just finished a new album, and so we're all just going, okay, now what? So now we just, because all our record labels are on the other side of the world, and you guys are all in lockdown, it's all very, very difficult to know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So you were basically born.
Going to put out singles.
Yeah. So you were, Kylie, you were basically born to sing. You come from a family of musicians, and it was always with you, no?
Absolutely, yes. Even my grandmother's friend used to say to me, "Stop singing at the table. No singing at the table." I was like, "What?"
That's really cool. That's really cool. I would like to talk just for a minute about the worldwide hit song "This Girl," which went number 1 or 2 on the charts in many countries. Germany, Belgium, France, the UK. And you know what's funny? Back in 2009, I told you the story. We discovered your music, and we were totally crazy about it. And but then I kind of took a break from music a couple of years. I moved back to my country. I became a dad a couple of years ago. I started working. But one day I was driving in my car, and all of a sudden I hear this song on the radio here in Ecuador. And I didn't know it was you, but I heard the voice, and I said, "Wait a minute, this is Kylie. I know her." that was so crazy, Can you tell me?
You can recognize my voice.
Yeah, and it was so crazy. After so many years, then in Ecuador on the radio, it was Kylie again. And how does it feel? The only thing I want to know is, how does it feel to have that song out there? I think it went viral on TikTok. It has over 300 million views on YouTube, over 1 billion streams. So how does it feel to have that many people?
It's had 1 billion, over 1 billion.
Yeah, exactly. So
Over 1 billion streams.
So what is that for a feeling to have that many people out there around the world listening and dancing to your music, to your voice?
It's quite strange, but you know what the good thing is? Because they never put my face or my name to it.
Okay.
And so, which was kind of bad at the start, because it probably did lose me a lot of money and a lot of opportunity, because they didn't tell anyone who it was.
It's a French DJ, right? The one who made this remix.
Yeah, cool. Mentioned my name, so it was I thought that was a bit rude. Yeah. And he's never spoken to me.
Really?
And no, never. It's very rude.
Wow.
Yeah, even the singers that he got to sing on it, they even reached out to me and said hello to me, which is lovely. So he used to get able to sing at the gigs over top of me. Anyway, but for me, it's kind of like, I remember a friend saying to me, Kylie, everybody in the world who's famous of your age now had a hit in the 80s or the 90s, and now they have to sing it all the time. Every time they go anywhere, they can't move on. They have to sing that song because everybody wants that song. Yeah. She said, but you're current. You can just do whatever you want, because you can, and I said, oh, thanks a lot. You're trying to say that no one ever wants to listen to me and no one cares what I do, because I never had a hit, Yeah. And she was like, oh, okay, which is basically true, because I never had a hit of my own. Yeah. And so for me, but now the good thing is that I can get the work from doing, from DJs or from, I get enough, and I get money from the neighboring rights. But I don't have to, like, whenever I sing this song in public, people think I'm singing a cover.
You're doing the cover.
They think I'm doing a cover because they don't believe it's me. They're like, no, that couldn't be you. That's not you. I'm like, it's me. Yeah. But they're like, no, you're singing a cover. So nobody believes it's me. So I can just get away with it. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I think it's a little bit like what happened with the soul and funk from the 60s and 70s, that hip hop the hip hop musicians in the 80s took some of the tracks and made loops out of it, you know. It's maybe what is happening now with the DJs, right?
Yeah.
Now they are hearing
Which is
to the
good for Evelyn Champagne King.
yeah.
Because, you know, some of them are making comebacks, which is good. And that's kind of cool. I can maybe make a comeback one day, you know, like, I don't mind it. And as I said, it's good for me because I've never been that ambitious anyway. Yeah. Like, I just love music. And it's just been lucky for me to have this happen to me because it means that I get money. But after spending 20 years doing music for no money, you know, it's been very, very, very helpful to my life.
Yeah, so that's what I think. I think that...
and it does...
Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels nice. It feels nice that, you know, my kids know and my friends know, and, you know, that my kids... Like one time I said to my son, do you know what? Some people don't think that I'm just here with you cooking your dinner and vacuuming. They think that I'm cool. They think I'm in Ibiza doing gigs and stuff. He goes, Mum, nobody thinks you're cool.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening right now. Like these very young DJs, because most of them are like in their 20s, so they are kind of discovering these bands from the 2000s that were really cool, like the Bamboos, Breakcastra, and other bands, and they are making now remixes. No?
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely.
Good on them. Thank you to them.
Yeah. Thank you to them. Yeah. And people in Ecuador are also listening to that song.
I'd love to come there one day.
Yeah, that will be awesome. So, Kylie, as I mentioned before, I kind of took a break from music for a couple of years. So maybe let's concentrate in the period between 2012 and 2019. You have recorded a total of 4 solo albums, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Just Say It and Made of Stone. I love those. They belong to my collection of all-time favorites. But what about the 2 others, Still Life and from 2012? I think Tree. Yeah, and Family Tree. So Still Life, I listened to the album the other day, and I think it still goes like in the same funky R&B soul direction as the other 2. But Family Tree, Kylie, my daughter and we started dancing like we were on a New York club from the 80s. All I wanted to have at that moment was like a Lamborghini Countach and listen to your album. It was so good. It was really amazing. So I can hear, you know, disco and synthesizers, boogie and house there. So what was happening in your life at that time when you recorded Family Tree? How was the creative process?
What happened? Yeah, the creative process was that I grew up and I just said, enough now. I had enough. I did enough soul. Yeah. And also I was breaking out on my own, doing my own music. And I have the Bamboos. I write with the Bamboos. I sing with the Bamboos. Yeah. I have that for my soul outlet. I love my soul. I love it, but I can't do it all the time. I love my 80s Prince and Madonna, all that sort of, like, I love, you know, the boogie and the disco. Yeah. And I just wanted to break out and do my own sort of music. And I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. I don't want to try and make it famous or anything like that. I just want to do music that I enjoy. Yeah. And so we invited along my friend Graham Pogson, who is the drummer from the Bamboos, and he is also the drummer in my band. He also has his own band called GL. Okay. And he is a fabulous, very, very clever and talented boy who can play most instruments. Cool. He's a wealth of knowledge on everything that is boogie, right? Yeah. He played with Evelyn Champagne King when she came to Australia. Like, he's a gun. Yeah. And so he came in and he helped to write that new album with me. And then I've got him also, because of that album, that was like me breaking free in my own style that I wanted to write, that I love.
Wonderful.
And so then from that, it's like being a 15-year-old in your bedroom, you know. It's like, that's what I like. So, yeah. So my record company didn't want it anymore, so I had to move to another label. And then from there, I couldn't work out how to play it live because there's so many different instruments, you see. It's so different. It's a different vibe. It's a different band.
Absolutely,
so I basically had to sack my band and go back to basics and start again. And so for that, I found a fabulous collaborator and friend, Warren Hunter, who came on board, and he learned all the instruments because he loves the same sort of music. Yeah. So he learned how to play all that. He bought all the gear, and we just went out and did it, just the 2 of us.
Cool.
And then we started to write, and we got Graham on board again, and we wrote some more stuff. But and it's the new album is even more like Family Tree. It's like it's totally boogie electro.
Oh,
it's so fun. And I've got
that's cool
on board singing, and I've got like a different band with all synthesizers, and Graham's on board playing drums, loops, and all that sort of stuff. And what is it called? He plays pads when it plays. I don't understand all the stuff, but there's so much electric stuff now.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of Sherelle. It's like really that Prince, that jam, sound from the 80s,
Wow. That's really cool. So your new album is coming out this year, Kylie? Can we expect that this year?
Yes, it's coming out on K7. Do you know K7? It's a German company.
Yeah. I think I've heard of them. Yeah, K7. Wow. Cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we've only got 9 tracks because, I don't know, we just sort of like, we felt like we're taking too long, and now it's like we got it all done and in the bag, and now it's like, now we have to all sit still.
Okay, so it's time for some music. We are going to listen to one of your songs from your last album, Family Tree, Sensational. And this song is sensational. It's fantastic. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
I'm calling home.
Kylie, do you have a home studio too, or how do you write your songs? Do you do it the old-fashioned way with a pen and notebook, or do you use your laptop or something like that?
Pencil.
Yeah,
Pencil and paper.
pencil and paper.
And pencil and paper, and I listen to music that comes through from people who've sent me, and then I just send something on my phone. Then I've got some friends who've got studios, and then I go and they give me a very, very cheap rate to go and put my stuff together in the studio one time.
Yeah.
And send it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have been very kind to me. But yeah, the music. I mean, most people do. Most musicians do get themselves a studio together at some stage. I don't even know how to use my computer to tell the truth. So.
Yeah.
Don't know how
Cool.
to get much use out of a studio.
So we were talking a little bit about the funk and soul scene these days. It's not the same as it was 10, 15 years ago. Things have changed. I think that 2000s, there was a strong funk and soul comeback or revival because of maybe Amy Winehouse and Sharon Jones. But where are we now, in your opinion, Kylie, from your experience? What is the direction funk and soul is taking, or what do you think are the challenges for new people who love funk music and are making music?
I feel like it's gone underground again.
Yeah.
But a lot of the kids are very, very, very clever musicians now. They've gone more into that sort of. They've gone back to what we call acid jazz. I think when my friends used to always go, "Oh my God, am I in a lift right now?" But it's just kids showing how clever they are. Music for clever people. But that is kind of that's a kickback to all the stupid music that's out there from morons, which is all this computer-made, boring music, which all has the same beat. Like most of my 15 years to the music that has all the same beat and all the same sounds. Everybody sings the same. Everybody sounds the same. It's all like McDonald's music. So
yeah.
I think it's music for money. So I'm hoping that that this whole thing will change the world again, and because everything's just getting too bland. I think I'm really not. I don't think I'm that impressed with the new music. But then it just makes me feel old if I say that.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by how clever the young are, but I mostly move in the world of musos, so I see the really clever stuff. But when you see the young kids out there that don't have anything to do with music, and the music that they're listening to on commercial radio, it's it was good to see that Billie Eilish girl come out. That's pretty interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, she's great.
There just seems to be a lot of boring rubbish, and it all sounds like. I mean, my son's into this, that sort of nigger rap, nigger bitch. Like, I'm like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Not that impressed by it, It's like, we all know you can say it, whatever. Just have a little think about yourself for a minute.
The Bamboos. Yeah. The Bamboos. How is it like to perform and share the stage with those incredible musicians? Any anecdotes, any memories, experiences touring with the Bamboos? How
Just too many. We could go on for days. I can't get enough of it. I love it. It's just they're my family. They're my brothers.
Yeah.
And we have the best time. And the new album we wrote in a house. We all went away for the week and stayed in the house and wrote an album like old school. It was so good. And the album's coming out. When you'll see, it sounds real. It sounds full of like love and like an old school band, back to basics bamboos.
Yeah. Wow, sounds fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's great for me because I have the two opposite polars of the bamboos, that really raw sort of old school funk, and then back to where I need to be with my little boogie life,
Yeah.
I have everything. I feel so lucky,
Absolutely.
But then, and now we all get to sit still for a minute and wait. So who knows what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
And then, as we were saying, I was talking to somebody online the other day, realizing that as soon as everything goes bad, it seems like some people are really good at getting up and filming themselves and being at home doing everything. But I'm just like, oh no, I can't do that. I need the audience. I need the stage. I need to like be in the zone. I don't want anyone in my house looking at me. You know, it's like
Yeah, totally.
I don't want to put makeup on for no reason.
Yeah, but Kylie, I mean, I don't want to sound pessimist or talk about a doomsday scenario or something like that. But what will happen with the world of music after COVID-19? You know, if we won't be able to go to concerts, festivals, and have to constantly avoid contact with other human beings, how is the music industry going to evolve in this scenario? I don't know if you have any thoughts or ideas. The future of the music in general.
Well, I mean, the future of the music industry, it changed as soon as everybody stopped paying for music anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, everything's on Spotify. Everything. I went to a friend's house party the other day. I mean, they're not musos. They had on Spotify, and it wasn't premium. They had ads playing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that everything, we all knew it was going to change anyway. But the only way we were making any money was by leaving our houses.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that has to change. We have to work out how to do things online. I mean, as I said, I've been collaborating with musicians online on the computer. You know, we send stuff back and forth, and then it's really only music that's released and put onto the airwaves that makes any money.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all have to start writing more and performing less, I guess, unless we work out some way to make money out of performing online. Virtual
concerts, 3D concerts, something like that. I can think of, right?
But yes, I guess like the symphony orchestras are doing that.
Yeah. Augmented reality concerts or something like that.
Yeah, I guess everybody's bored. We all want something to watch, don't we?
Yeah. So
everybody, I'm sure, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure anybody will have any money.
Okay.
Nobody's going to work.
Yeah, sure. Kylie, I would like. Do you want to add?
Are you still playing music?
Not anymore. I'm kind of concentrated on my podcast right now, but I do have my bass guitar here, and every once in a while I still play, but not anymore in a band. But maybe I will do it again sometime in the future. Because I love it too. I love it too. Yeah.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
But there's probably too many humans in the world anyway. You know, unfortunately.
Yeah. So Kylie, I would like to thank you for your time, for your music, for your words. Let's call it a day. But before we end the show, may I ask you a couple of random rapid fire questions? It's just a way I like to end the show, and just for fun. Just for fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will start. Okay. Kylie, what takes too much of your time?
Cleaning my house and cooking for my family.
What's the most memorable thing about high school?
My friends.
Did you have a childhood comfort object or maybe an imaginary friend?
No. I had outdoor living to the extreme. I lived out in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't have a television, so I just went outside and built cubby houses in the creek bed with my brothers.
What do you drink when you go to a bar?
Mostly beer, but sometimes wine. It depends on how much money I have.
Are you a superstitious person?
Sorry?
Are you a superstitious person?
I try not to be, but a little bit.
What's your favorite?
I don't walk under ladders.
Okay. What's your favorite smell?
Smell?
Yeah, like maybe coffee or something like that. The way
Sorry?
coffee smells. Yeah.
Oh, frangipani trees.
Do you like to talk about
Summer.
Okay. Next question. Do you like to talk about politics?
No, because I'm not very knowledgeable, and I don't like to criticize people in jobs that would be extremely hard to do.
What do you do to pass time, for example, on a long flight?
I watch movies. I mostly learn my lyrics for the gig that I'm going to. I drink and I read books.
Do you have any phobias?
Spiders.
Is there something that keeps you up at night?
Nothing can keep me up at night because I can sleep for Australia.
Wow, that's cool. Is there a quote that always stick with you?
Is there what?
A quote. Like a word or phrase.
Well, I can tell you something from my father. My father who passed away 4 years ago. He told me that when you think everything's so bad and you can't handle it anymore, just remember you get used to anything.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kylie, so much. That's it for today.
I really, really appreciate your support and thank you for loving the music. I'm so like rap.
Yeah, Ship Inside a Bottle is one of my all-time favorites. I don't know why. It's just I get emotional every time I hear that song. So Kylie, thank you so much for your music, for your words, and
thank you so much, Ivan. And I'll send you a photo. I'll send you the photo of that poster.
Oh yeah, I will do too. And this podcast will be available in about I think next week, Kylie. I'm gonna work on this, so it's gonna be available next week on
Can you please take out the bit where I didn't know who the bass player was?
yeah. Okay, no problem. It will be available on every podcast app, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcast. So if you like it, Kylie, feel free to share it with your friends and family. And thank you so much.
Congratulations, well done. And I'll be listening to your other ones as well.
Okay, thank you very much. There are mostly Spanish episodes, but I have a couple of German and English episodes too. Yeah.
Okay, yes, I heard one with a lady singing the other day.
Yeah. Bye, Kylie. Yeah. Oh, I'm having also. Do you know Kalita and the Super Yamba Band? Have you heard of these guys? They make Afro funk. They are really, really good. So I actually talked to them this morning. Yeah, they are awesome. They are really, really cool from New York, from Brooklyn.
Oh wow! Oh, nice work. Well, thank you for making me part of the community.
Absolutely, and send greetings to all the Bamboos and Cooking on Three Burners guys. I love those guys. I've been listening to their music since 2007, I think, or something like that, when we discovered them. So thank you, Kylie. Bye bye.
Thank you, Ivan. See you later.
Have a great day. Bye.
Oh yeah.
won't change.